I'm here. Hold on. Hey guys, welcome to another live show. Sheena's Arsenal season review. Let's pack up this season, tie it up in a bow, and never talk about it again. Yeah, because it wasn't great. But I'm excited to talk to Deluded again because now I get to grill him with questions because he's a guest. And yeah, I haven't seen you. How are you? I would say that, like, I know that Arsenal didn't have a great season, but I feel like maybe you took a step forward, like, in your career, like you're doing stuff with Talk Sport and you're like, you're doing big things. So from a personal perspective, was this a good season for you?
I'm trying, man. I don't know, man. You have to define good. Someone's always doing worse. Someone's always doing better. I'm trying, man. In life, you have to find reasons to suffer. I'm trying, man. I'm just trying. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. Trying to be like you, man. Trying to be like you.
No, man.
Trying, man. So you can do.
I'm just an average little YouTuber just trying to make my way up the ladder,
Yeah,
but yeah, listen, but I hate that. I feel like I have, like, my career has gotten a little bit better, but then at the same time, I need Arsenal to do well at the same time because they do affect me. Like, they affect me so badly. But I am happy about the women. I think they were pretty much the only
champions of Europe and that.
Yeah,
they said we don't win trophies. We did it.
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. That was so cool. But from an Arsenal perspective, it hasn't been great. It felt like a disaster to me, but then also like it's not like we fell out of top 4 or, whatever. So maybe it wasn't a disaster, but if you could just use one word to describe this season, what word would you use?
Stagnation, regression, either one of them. Either
Yeah.
one, like if people want to get hung up on either word, sorry, neither's the direction we want to move in, which is forward. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's how I'd put it down, man.
Yeah.
Disappointment.
Yeah. Do you think that because a lot of it's like I know the words stagnation and regression are words that trigger quite a few people in the fan base. When you say that, people are like, how can you say that? We had the injuries and the red cards. Do you feel like those injuries and those red cards were the reason why we didn't move forward? Or do you think that we would have still had questions about whether or not we were progressing? Should we, if we had all of our players and not got those red cards?
Well, I listen, when we had all these players, yeah, I know people would look towards the injuries, but when we had all these players, we weren't rosy. Everything wasn't great when everybody was fit. It's not one singular reason, in it. There has been a factor with referees and red cards. There has been a factor with injuries. There has been a factor of us not buying players either in January or the summer. And as I said on my platform where we was there, yeah, you see, if we want to be this team that is second and semi-finals and we have some good games like against City or against Real Madrid, we've got enough. But you see, if you want to get over the line and whatnot, you need to start being able to answer the unanswered questions. Really, you know me. I like Martinelli. I like Trossard. I'm not dissing them, but you need an upgrade over there and allowing them to be squad players. Saka is still pulling the weight. As I said on my platform, I actually feel sorry for the players above everything because people have come back from injury hit seasons and had to play a lot of minutes. Young players have stepped up. Someone like Kivior, who I think is nowhere near Magalhaes, has done quite well. Marino had a tough start to life, been playing out of his position up front and done well. They needed help in January. I feel sorry for the players, but yeah, man, I think it's many factors. I don't think you can just point to one. I think the players have to hold themselves accountable. Mikel Arteta, as I said, injuries, dropping points from winning positions, changing tactics when required. It's a mixed bag, man. It's many different ingredients, which ultimately has led to this, Jessen. We're having this conversation, man.
Yeah, I think you can break down those couple of different factors to recruitment, the players and what they need to hold themselves accountable for, the the unluckiness of our season because there was some unluckiness, and then the manager. So we'll go through some of it, but um the recruitment was something that was spoken about quite a bit in the summer. I felt like we were promised a summer, and then somehow they convinced us that this was all that we needed. All we needed was Calafiori and Marino
I don't
and
know who got convinced.
Sterling, and that was gonna be okay, and it clearly wasn't. Do you think that if we had just gotten those players that we needed, that we would have won the league? Do you think it's just that simple? Like get the striker, get the left wing, and then we fly, or is it more than that?
No, man. I think it would have helped. It's a big factor. I think the 14 draws are at least halved and whatnot. But like this season, a lot of people think, you get your Gyökeres, you get your Nico Williams, we're better. We are. But if we're crying about breaking down low blocks and tactical issues, new players aren't necessarily going to change that. Of course, the 1-2 chances created exaggeration. I know we're going to kind of score, but yeah, man, I think recruitment would have helped. I definitely, do you know what? Yeah, I think we would have won a domestic cup if I'm honest with you, because
Mhm.
well, to be fair, the second leg against Newcastle, we was poor, but in the first leg, we was also poor, but we had half chances. I don't want to remind anybody about the FA Cup, but put the ball in the back of the net. That's the season, another season in a row, really. Different slightly, but when we went out to Man United, it's because we didn't put the ball in the back of the net, ultimately. When we went out the year before to Liverpool, which we still didn't have a striker, we didn't put the ball in the back of the net. I feel a lot of things that we're complaining about now, obviously, on my stream and now at the moment, we've learned this last season. Like, none of these things were new. We knew about depth. We knew we needed quality. We knew we needed people to share the burden on Bukayo Saka. We knew we needed to address the left-hand side. We know Arteta is a very good manager, but he needs to provide a bit more
Mhm.
flexibility and be a lot less predictable. We knew this. If nothing changes, nothing changes, man.
Yeah, absolutely. The style of play is also something that keeps coming up. Do you think that the style of play that we play regressed too? Like, was there a difference between the way that we played at the back end of 23-24 and how we attack the game in this season. It feels like we found it difficult to speed up the game. It was hard for us to score a goal under pressure. There were no late goals this season, no 97-minute winners like Luton or anything like that. It felt strange. Like that cannot just be personnel. I cannot say that it's just personnel. I don't know if it was by design, but do you think our style of play regressed? And it's a style that we play, like there's no way that you can think that that's a style of play that will win things, right?
Yeah, man. To be honest with you, I still feel the same way I did Wolves at home. Sorry, in the first game of the season. Unpopular opinion. I like how Arteta, in general, micromanages and what he does in midfield and inverted fullbacks and whatnot. But the hardest thing to do is to score goals, isn't it? And when we get into the final third, it's too scripted. We need to be a bit more unpredictable. So I think this is a season that is gonna stick out with Arteta in his managerial career, and he needs to evolve. I do think we need a bit more life. You'd have to speak to someone who's actually a coach, but I do think it can evolve. Above all, though, I do think a bit of it is psychologically because we looked a bit more galvanized up for it, on it. And we didn't last season, as a case to the one that just went. This year, there was a couple of occasions the boys were up for City. There was obviously bad blood there. Real Madrid, I don't know what they did in the dressing room, but they were up for it. Other than that, it just feels like we're neither here nor there. I haven't seen that we've really got that intensity required. So, yeah, man, like I said, Jess, it's a bunch of everything, really, man. If I'm honest with you, obviously injuries and people not being involved is going to affect how you play. But we knew all of this going back to the 2022-23 season. It sounds mad, but when Zinchenko weren't playing, we was talking about we can't create because we haven't got a left back. Different dogs, different shit, different toilet, man, or whatever the saying is, man. Same shit, different toilet.
Like,
apologies.
When you say that, like, that they didn't seem like they were up for it. I kept saying that throughout the season, but then people were like, well, so you think they're not trying? And I'm like, it's not that I don't think that they're trying. I just don't think they can unlock that next level. And I
They don't
think
truly believe.
Yeah, it didn't
And I
ever really
extend that to
feel
the
like
gaffer.
they really believed it. And I think last season, I do feel was really hard for them. I think where they could maybe say like, oh, we just weren't ready the first season when, City came and took us. I actually do think that they really believe that they could have won the league last season. I think
Look at
post
the
Dubai,
second half of that year.
yeah, I think not winning it then, it was more difficult to get up for it, especially when physically, I think a lot of our players were on the edges because, I mean, Kai, Bryce, Saka, and a couple more played quite a few games in the Euros as well. And they went straight from the Euros into
In the World Cup the year before.
Yeah, playing with Arsenal. And there was no reprieve. And then there also wasn't any, I think sometimes buying players, it shakes things up in different ways. It makes some people, like somebody like Declan, if new players come in, I feel like that would invigorate him a little bit more.
It gasses you.
Yeah, and other players, it would light a fire under their ass because they're like, damn, this person could take my spot. We didn't have any of that. So there was really nothing to pull from this season to really get us going for the fight of our lives because you needed to win the league and you're in Champions League. You're meant to fight on all four fronts and there just wasn't enough energy to go around. So you saying that, I feel like, okay, I wasn't watching Fab tweet on Sesko. Hold on. Let's look. Did you see it yet or no? Sometimes they be lying.
No, it is Romano. No, it is. Understand Arsenal started moving initial concrete talks for Benjamin Sesko. He's always been high on the recruitment team, management, and Mikel Arteta's list with attempts to get a deal done rejected by Leipzig in May 2024 and January. Now Sesko will leave Arsenal on it. Well, maybe Gyökeres is landing as well.
Give me your instant reaction, man. Give me your instant reaction to that because that's we've gotten our answer on what striker we're going for, essentially.
I mean, just as you know yourself, I think people are quite harsh on Sesko. I understand the frustration. We're in win now mode. We want a guy that's going to win. As I just said, Gyökeres is who I want because it goes against the grain, 26 years of age, etc., etc. I'm a big fan of Sesko. I like him. I do want Gyökeres first. I like Sesko. I like his physical qualities. I think we're going to have to be I know people don't hear this, going to have to be a bit patient with him. I do think, it kind of correlates with, I'm sure you've covered it already, where you look at Gunner Blog and all of them and saying that Kai starts the season as the number one. Maybe Sesko believes he can take his spot rather than last season. Maybe it's a bit of a blight. Well, I'm on it, man, because I'm at the point now where my first choice would actually be Isaac. We're not gonna grab that. I want Gyökeres second. We're not getting that. But whether it's Isaac, Gyökeres, Watkins, this one, that one, I'm at the point, bro. Just get me my striker. Let's review them once they come through the door. So I'm cool with Sesko, man.
Nobody is happier than this person right here.
Yeah, big up
Nobody
boy,
is
man.
more happy than this person
Because he's getting
right
paid.
here.
He's getting paid, man. I'm telling you, that lad is Jonathan David and Sesko's agent. Big up boy, man.
100%. Matoma, Jonathan David.
Yeah, he loves him.
Sesko. Yeah, man. Like,
he's definitely paid to hate Havertz as well.
Well, yeah, for
I'll
sure.
big him up.
Yeah, it's yeah, the energy thing really struck me. But I guess when your squad is thin and you've had an emotional back end of the season where you really thought you could win it, but you missed out by 2 points and no new players up front come in, it's really hard to get up for the season. So I understand that. From a player's perspective, though, like some players I do feel like stepped up to the plate, and then other players really flattered to deceive this season, whether it was injury related or whatever. At face value, there just was some players that just did not live up to it. If you could pick out 2 or 3 players to you that you think really stepped up to the plate this season, despite us not winning anything, what players would you pick out and why?
Mr. In no order, Mr. Declan Rice, Mr. Gabriel Magalhaes, big up David Raya, big up Miles Lewis-Skelly. Have I said Rice? Yeah, I think I have. Saka and what you played, I'd say you as well. I'd say Thomas Partey as well, to be fair with you. Big up Timber as well. Maybe a couple more, but I'd say those to answer your question, Jess, man. Especially Magalhaes. And Rice, to be fair.
Yeah, first half of the season, guys, I just have it up so that people that are coming in looking can see it.
Zoom in,
even though we're trying to talk about other things, but you want to zoom in a little bit? That's better, whatever. But yeah, I think first half of the season was like 100% Gabriel, like doing madness. Like, I just think I would love to see just like a comp of Gabriel's like season till he got injured, because I feel like maybe recency bias for me is like thinking that Rice was our player of the season, but Gabriel was like having a crazy season before, like at the beginning, a crazy season, scoring goals, keeping those clean sheets, whatever. So yeah, Gabriel definitely stepped up to the plate and always kind of looks like one of the players that is willing to die for it, and so I really appreciate him for that. Also, like you said, Declan Rice, I definitely agree with that. I think he, started off slow, but I mean, he had just came off of a really, I think, emotional and physically draining Euros, so there's that. Miles Lewis-Skelly coming out of the shadows, coming out of the shadows. That's crazy. Did you if I would have told you at the beginning of the season, last season, that MLS would be one of our best players this season, what would you have said to me?
You know how funny football is. I wouldn't have downplayed it, but I would say I can't see it in it. But this is how football works, man. This is why we love it. Again, I don't know if everybody was fit, if he would have got his opportunity in life would have come so fast. But you have to take it, and he's taken it. He's ran with it, played for England, scored on his debut, done the whole City thing, equipped himself well against Real Madrid, been one of our more consistent players. Of course, he's young. There's a lot that he needs to work on. But yeah, man, Lewis-Skelly's done his thing, man. I think many people probably would have thought Nwaneri, being a more attacking player, would have been the one to maybe not have this kind of season, but get blooded in. But big up Lewis-Skelly, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think I would have been like, what? No, but yeah, he really...
This level of impact is crazy.
Yeah, his level of impact was crazy. Gabriel from the beginning was one of the main people that looked like they were up for it. I know, guys, I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything. Leave me alone.
She's not professional, man. See, very unprofessional.
I know. I haven't been professional. I'm so sorry.
Doesn't care about you guys enough.
I do. I care about y'all too much, man. This is my 4th stream today.
Fair enough.
Timber.
Yeah, I said Timber. Big him up, Timber. And again, I give Timber a bit more credit than everything, because honestly, and I know I know people are not trying to put guys out there to get injured, But I think if we got to talk privately with the physio department, Jury and Timber and Mikel Arteta, they would honestly say he has played a lot more football than we would have banked on. I've said that all season. I'm sure Timber wouldn't care because you want to play in that, but I give Timber extra credit, man, because like I want to see what he can do when the man's actually fit. The only negative I can say about Timber and Gabriel Magalhaes is that when you read that Gunner blog tweet or better yet article, they seem quite upbeat that these guys are going to be involved in training. But then he also dropped a comment where like the same language that they used around Benjamin White is being used now. And there's never a good time to get injured, as you know, but the worst is probably pre-season. You're playing catch up. You said Declan Rice. Now, he wasn't injured, but he was probably mentally injured or fatigued. Is there any coincidence that he was okay in the first half of the season? He's played his way into form second half. He's moving mad. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you have to assume that, like, you know, with Gunner Blog pretty much like, I think trying to set expectations about what the beginning of next season is going to be. Because he was basically saying no Timber and no Gabriel maybe to start. And if they are starting the beginning of the season, that, you know, that's because they're ahead of schedule almost. So it's a really, really big summer. It's a big summer and preseason for, I think, Ben White and Calafiori. Because if neither one of Timber or Gabriel are ready to start, then those are the two players that are going to have to come in. So, oh, he's gone. He said the door's ringing, but yeah, when you think about it that way, like those two players are going to be super important for the beginning of next season. Also thinking just about like players that I don't like, because we're going to get into Odegaard and Martinelli because I think they're the most obvious players that probably didn't have the best seasons and probably we thought would have good seasons, but ended up not having them. But other players too, like I didn't know if I expected them to have a big impact, but I think Arteta bigging up Gabriel Jesus so much at the beginning of the season and also Zinchenko starting the season made me feel like those two would have a bigger impact. And although I know we've moved beyond them, I do think those two not having as big of an impact has hurt us because you're losing two senior technical players that are just nowhere to be seen. So yeah, I think those two as well, like those two being out is like insane. I know you guys want to talk about Sesko. I do. If you guys want to talk about Sesko, we could just turn the tide and like not do season review. I guess we can. I guess we can. You guys are like not interested in the season review anymore because you guys want to talk about Sesko, which is fine. We could do that. It's your wish is my command. You know, so your wish is my command. Let me actually go to the thing and put it up, share the screen again, because I know people are coming in that want to like breaking news, Sesko. So for those of you guys who don't know, it says that this is Fabrizio Romano says, understand Arsenal have started moving initial concrete talks. That is just so like, it's just initial talks or concrete talks. We don't need both words, but moving initial concrete talks for Benjamin Sesko deal. He's always been high on the recruitment team. Management, Mikel Arteta's list with attempts to get the deal done. Rejected by Leipzig in May 2024. In January, now Sesko will leave Arsenal on it. I don't really know what to feel. Like, I don't actually know what to feel about that, to be honest. I'm going to be so real. Oh, and this is from before. But I don't even know what to feel, how to feel about this because I'm honest. I'll be honest. I'm not as concerned about the striker as I am with the left wing. I think the left wing is really the one that will make it so, you know, if we bring in a Sesko, there's not as much pressure on him because your left wing is, you know, up there with Saka and you can kind of have a younger striker. So the left wing is important here. I don't think you can go get a Jamie Gittins and have Sesko too. So yeah, I'm lukewarm on it, guys. I'll be really honest. I know it's like, oh, Jess, but you know, this isn't good enough or whatever. I think I'm lukewarm on the Sesko thing because I do rate him. So yeah. Ace says, same, the left wing always been the one that's been most keyed in on. Skill says Sesko, why? Even Isak is not available. And you guys would hate Ekitike. And if you guys have done any research on Ekitike, you will see that once you get past the comps that show him in his best light and his technical skill, you will see that he's underperformed his XG by a lot. He's underperformed his XG by about 8. He should have over 20 goals, but he doesn't because he misses a lot of chances. He's not a great ball striker. He's somebody that I feel like is more akin to Jesus, and we were frustrated with Jesus. So I get it that he would feel better because he's older and all that, but to me, Ekitike is not the answer. Even if you don't feel like Sesko's the answer, Ekitike is not the one to me because it's like, if anything, we need a true goal scorer. I think we need a true goal scorer. I think we need a number 9, so I always call you boy, but I know other people call you Dio. Is it Dio or Dio? Let me know. But you're so happy and I'm happy for you because I don't think you've ever gotten anything you've ever wanted. So, fair enough. I think other people are just, they feel like Jokeris means we're serious and Sesko means we're not. So, first Dio. Okay, cool. But I'm happy for you. Johnny says Jesus was banging man 40 days before his injury. I just wish somebody advised him to power shoot sooner. He tried all sorts of Brazilian shit before he was botched. I mean, he just isn't the same player as he was pre-injury, but he's also somebody that we saw at a certain point in the season that could have been useful to us even at like 10% less of what he was when we first signed him. But after the ACL, guys, I'm going to be really honest. I think he's done, for us at least. Arsenal Perspective says right now is Sesko any much better if all than Molten Made? I haven't watched Walter Made, and I know that a lot of people like him and think that he's the better option. Here's the thing, guys, is I know you guys don't want to hear this because this is just not what people want to hear. But I 100% believe deep down in my skeleton that Sesko is the type of player that in a year or two will be kind of disappointed that we didn't go get. I think he has all the qualities to become the best striker in the world. Jokeris does not. His ceiling is capped. He's kind of as good as he's going to be. Now, is what he is right now better than what Sesko is? Probably, but how excited will you be? It's like kind of like the difference between having Ollie Watkins and having Holland. It's like Ollie Watkins is great, until you see Holland and you're like, oh, well, he's younger, better, and has a much higher ceiling. So I rate Jokeris and I like him and I think he's good for now, for sure. But I'm not totally against getting somebody that I know in the next couple of years will probably become one of the best strikers in the world, but also is going to be able to contribute now. And I think that's the biggest thing that's missing in the piece that people aren't thinking about is Sesko. Like, if Sesko is not the finished article now, that means that he can't contribute now. There'll be some learning curve and there might be some some little bobbles here and there where he needs to learn how to do this in the Premier League and refine certain things. But some of the physical qualities and the number 9 kind of qualities that he has, you can't teach. He has the ball striking, the technical level, the speed, all the kind of stuff of the type of striker that's going to strike fear into you. So you just have to refine it and hone it. My biggest concern is, will Mikel be able to bring that out of him? That's a different question, but I know it's not what people want to hear. I know people don't want Havertz to start. You guys know I don't want Havertz to start, but I'm less concerned about choosing between Jokeris and Sesko than I am about making sure that we bring in a Nico Williams or whoever you want at left wing to make sure that we have a solid wing pairing that's dangerous, that are 1v1, that have the athleticism, all that kind of stuff to move us forward. But I'm not as much of a hater of Sesko as other people. You're back. Hey,
Yeah, man. Done a good deed. Proud of myself.
what'd you do?
My neighbours, obviously, he's a little boy. He must be like 11, 12. Said
Mhm.
his ball was lost in, like, there's a tree in between our things. He asked me, can I help him? I went and got it. Good karma,
Oh,
man. I'm a
that's
nice
nice.
guy. I'm a good guy.
All right.
Actually climbed the tree
Not
for the
too
first time
much.
in 20 years. Huh?
Not too much, you
No, I'm a
know.
nice
We've
guy, man.
seen
I'm a
you in
nice guy.
4K. We've seen you in 4K. Okay.
Doing
Um,
what in 4K? I'm a good guy, man. I want no problems or
do you
peace or
guys
problems.
believe him, man? Do you guys believe this guy that he's the good guy? No, he's a
I'm
nice
a
guy.
good guy, man. Like, I just make content. I get a bunch of friends wherever they are. Don't create no trouble. I'm a good guy, man. Gally shout me.
Fair enough. But while you were gone, people were like, Jessica, stop talking about the season and talk about Sesko. So we had to spend some time on it, unfortunately.
At least you've done. At least you've done it. At least you've done it. Like, what is there to say about Sesko? Like, I'm sure you've done bare vids. I've done bare vids. I can
Yeah.
understand when you go from, Yokerez and all of them kind of guys to Sesko. I hear it, but he was the first choice for over a year. It's cool, man. I think he's all right. But I understand right now, win now mode, he's gonna have to deliver immediately.
Tell me about this Havertz starting Sesko on the bench. Does that concern you? Like if we started the season with Havertz and it was a slow progression for Sesko? Like is
Yes
that
and no, because I know we're in win now mode. We need to deliver. There's no time for no one. But a player has to be given an adaptation period to a degree. That being said, it's a long season. Like if Kai starts the first 3-4 games, it is what it is. If he's starting come May, there's an issue. But then at the same time, we know we need a striker. We want to see signings. Just bed him in. Just start the guy. But we know Mikel Arteta is rather fond of Havertz, and we're gonna have. It'd be interesting, to be fair to you, just to see how it's going to work out for Havertz. Because is he going to get more game time in midfield? Is he going to be more of a rotation striker or in between? You never know. Maybe there might be an evolution of the system, and there's two forwards, or Kai plays in another role. But yeah, I want to see Sesko start. If I'm honest.
Yeah, I do too. And if we get him in early, at least he'll be in for preseason. I think that's super important, him being in for
The main
preseason.
thing.
But again, I'm still like, I really do feel like deep down that Sesko will become the top level 9. Like I do. So, I'm not. Did you? Who are you talking to? You got a pet?
No, I said I hope so. He's cold. What? I can't get my
Oh,
bottle
I
of
was
water.
like, who is he talking to? You got a dog or
Well, I'm
something? I
climbing
know
the
you
tree.
don't
I'm
like dogs.
thirsty.
You don't like
I don't think you
animals.
understand. I was doing a madness to get this ball. Absolute
I
madness.
really don't. I didn't see it, so I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, no, allow me, man. I can't get a bottle.
Backyard.
You know what? I put my bottle of water down just for you. Just for you. It's down.
Oh yeah,
It's
not
down.
backyard, a back garden. Just kidding.
Yeah, wait, what's a backyard? It's a back garden.
I know.
Oh, you're doing that American talk. You lot yeah, big up America, man.
Mikel loves Havertz. He's starting 100%. Just as pressing PP.
Million
Of course, Gegenpress. Come on, let's come on.
on me for no reason.
MM says, yeah, Havertz going back into midfield. W press. Boy says, and you give the club and Arteta a rope to do so. Yeah, it's just about how do you feel about Mikel's ability to develop a striker? Because we've never seen him do it before. Do you trust him?
Shit, we're gonna have to find out. I trust what I can see. We're gonna have to find out. I mean, yes and no. Obviously, Kai Havertz scored a goal playing as a false 9 for Chelsea, so we know we can do it, and we all know what the original plan for Kai Havertz was. And I'm not saying Kai's the answer, but we made it work to a degree. He worked with Marino. Fair play in it. It'd be interesting to see if Kai Havertz can do all the other stuff, like not Kai Havertz, Sesko can do all the other stuff we need from a striker, the pulling into the channels, the dropping deep, all the other stuff that Arteta wants from a 9. We'll see. But we're gonna learn, innit? We're gonna learn.
I mean, we're gonna learn. Like we're gonna learn today. But what about Valeria's question? Like, what do you think has been the biggest contributor to us not winning anything? Is it the squad depth? Like we don't have enough good players, or is it a mentality problem?
I think it's both, but if you ask me, it's more the depth, man, because especially our defeats, we looked a bit spent. Like the players, I'm sure Bournemouth, potentially Newcastle. This ain't the only excuse, but even West Ham to a degree. We've gone into these games, we look knackered, we look crackered. Sometimes in football, things are gonna go wrong. You just need a player to get you out of issues. Depth, man, and it's all fun and games talking about the absence of certain players missing via injuries and the man that comes in. But the other players in the other positions that can't be rested, that have to rush back from injury or whatnot, it's in issues. It's depth, man. We ran our players into the ground. It was romantic against Real Madrid, and obviously we did well. But if you remove the emotion, are we putting ourselves in the best possible shoes, playing Marino up front, having Kivio? I'm not getting at the players. I'm just saying, like, once you remove the romance, is it competencies? Then you look at the PSG game. Obviously, the first leg, we were horrible, but I do think Partey's absence, which it happened to himself, he got it done himself, it was felt. But players get suspended. The second leg, obviously, Partey's come back in. We're huffing and puffing first 20-odd minutes. I actually think we did well to a degree, but it just came down to our best at that game. PSG just being competent. We just don't have the players, Jesse. Just don't have it. We need Stardust, but we already knew that. When we went out against Bayern Munich, did they not say we need players with X factor?
Absolutely.
Did Sterling have that?
We already knew that. Yeah, I think when you look at it, the squad depth thing to me doesn't really make a lot of sense, because our squad depth is actually how we got through the early stages of those domestic cups. They did their job. They did their job. When we got to the point that we were at, when we lost to Newcastle and we lost to Man United, we played strong sides then and lost, So I don't know if it's a squad depth thing. I think it's more of a top end problem of not having X factor, like you said. That's not a squad depth problem. It's definitely about having sharper knives up front. And we didn't have that. And so I think the squad depth thing is something that people are holding on to. But our squad, to me, is more than good enough to help us throughout the majority of the season, but the lack of X factor is not a squad depth thing.
Do you reckon, Jess, we've got enough bodies, even though the gaffer said we're short? Like, we have enough bodies? Because it's like, how many of these games came here when we're like, there's 2 games a week, there's 3 games in 10 days. Once you start getting to that November, December period, I don't think we have the bodies.
They've been running squad depth for 3 seasons. This is the only time that we've gone through a season where the level of injuries that we have has been more than anyone else. We had the Newcastle season that they had the season prior. Newcastle had like 1 million injuries and we're playing kids. We had the worst injuries this season.
I'm happy you said that, Jess, because we have to learn from other people. We have to learn from our own mistakes, and we have to learn from other people's. You made a great point with Newcastle. I'm sure Liverpool had a year like that. So we've seen what collective injuries can do. We've also seen with Saliba a few years ago. We saw it with Rodri, what one injury can do. And of course, in an ideal world, well, not an ideal world, but in relation to an ideal world in this scenario, right? Let's say we did everything we needed to do in the summer, right? And the same injury thing happened. I can only speak for myself, yeah? I would have said, fair enough. You know what? The club, you put your best foot forward. You've tried to safeguard against that. I think it really highlights. I think we're getting two things kind of messed up. I think it's depth, but it comes down to what you're saying. When it comes to simply put fight or flight, we need to get it done.
Yeah,
we all know it's not going to happen, really, is it? We need better players.
Yeah, 100%. I think we went through the worst possible injury crisis that you could have went through. And I don't know if if we had a season like we had last season in terms of injuries, the squad depth is fine. It's mostly about the X factor, and some of it is mentality, because we didn't go into games feeling like the team wasn't good enough to win some of those games. We just ended up not winning them because we just didn't have the mentality to get it over the line. A lot of to me, those 14 draws were a mentality problem or even not having X factor. I wasn't thinking, damn, I wish we had another backup left back right now. So to me, it's not really about that, but a couple of seasons ago, our squad depth wasn't good enough, but I feel like for the last 2 seasons, it's been much better than people give it credit for.
Even last year, just like, I hear you, you're right. But we still missed Partey, Timber, Tomiyasu. And the minute we got to the real run in the season, those came in. So my thing is not necessarily rebuttaling your point. In fact, I'm not. I actually think you're talking facts. It's the club, man. A lot of these things that we've learned this year, a lot of these things we're seeing this year, we should have learned in previous years. And unfortunately, if nothing changes, man.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, while you were gone, I was talking to them about, I know that, we'll get into the disappointing seasons from like Martinelli and Odegaard, because obviously to me, those are the standout ones of players that we were meant to play well, but then they didn't, and they're big parts of the team. But I was saying that, I know that people probably don't think about it this way, but I do think having 2 senior players in the team, and Jesus and Zinchenko, not playing big roles in the team also hurts us, because those 2 technical players, 2 experienced players that just didn't really play a role, And I know Arteta probably expected them to play bigger roles because, he was saying Jesus was ready to go at the beginning of the season. And also Zinchenko started the season. I believe he started against Wolves at the beginning of the season. What do you think the impact of those two players, like dropping off from that 2022-2023 season to where they are now, how's that impacted the team? Because going that quickly cannot be something that we're just like, oh, we just got too good for them. Like, genuinely, Arteta didn't either get a chance to use them or didn't use them. And I feel like we missed something from them too, like their little bit of sparkle or their technical quality or something. Something is missing. We need to replace them too.
Not you praising Jesus, but yeah, what you said there, really. Really, they're on the peripheral things. I do wonder with, when Jesus got injured, I'm not saying he would have changed our life or done a madness, even though against Bayern Munich he did well. Like, I wonder how his season would have panned out. I think Arteta would have learned a lot about this season, especially with what you're saying with Zinchenko, potentially giving players more game time. I know what he demands from Odegaard. I don't think he thinks Zinchenko can replicate it, but there were times where he eventually, when it was too little too late, he did use Zinchenko in midfield. So he potentially could have used them, could have leveraged the mentality 1,000,000%. We missed them. But I mean, let's be real, man. Like, they both got their own individual issues. Jesus is more injuries. Zinchenko, it's not that you can't do the inverted stuff,
Yeah.
but you can't defend. All the others can do what you do, and the other and also the other aspects. But I do think we've left them, I do think we've left them. I do
We've
think
left them
Arteta could
pretty
have used them, but we've left them, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe we have left them, but I still don't feel like we actually have upgraded upon them enough
Yeah.
where, Arteta's not reverting back to Jesus and stuff like that. It's like kind of like the in-between zone where if we had truly upgraded on them, especially Jesus, I don't think people would have been wanting him to come back into the team at all.
They would
And
have just been
so,
bodies, if anything,
yeah,
which we
100%.
needed, really.
Yeah, for sure. Marco says, can someone please tell me what the last Fab tweet on Jokeris was? I don't have Twitter. I don't remember did he say something about
Oh no, man.
Jokeris?
Don't
I don't
hold you. But
know.
Chelsea have been linked with Gyökeres, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I know people are like, oh, well, they got Delap, but I mean, he cost like 30 million. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to go in and get Jokeris too. So yeah, we're just linked with Sesko. But yeah, so we spoke about the players that really did their thing, but
No, Gyökeres.
obviously Martinelli and Odegaard had poor seasons. Probably the more surprising one was Odegaard. How big of an impact was his poor season on our season? Because I heard Clive from Arsenal Vision saying that he feels like the team has shifted away from Odegaard in terms of before when Odegaard played well, we played well, but now when Declan Rice played well, we play well. And do you think was it as big of an impact as we think it was, or was it actually a really difficult thing to deal with having one of your better players in a real funk for pretty much the entire season?
I mean, Arteta's going to learn a lot about rotation, around depth, around being a bit cute and clever. Like, it might not be the season for Odegaard. Like, you might still want to play Odegaard and use him, but his form's been terrible. Can we get into a reality where, all right, your form's terrible. We tried the playing you into form thing. Maybe there's someone else that can do the role you require from him, pull him out of it. I agree with that. I agree with that. Declan Rice is a talismanic figure. Martin Odegaard's been a shadow of his former self. Yes, he's been injured, and I cutting them kind of excuses, but we've carried Martin Odegaard. He's a flipping great player, class region. I think we're both two of the biggest Martin Odegaard fans, but he can't have a season like this. We've carried him. I personally think that ankle injury harmed him a lot more. But at the same time, how far does that go? Because I do think that. But once you're out there and you're playing playing on a regular basis, clearly you must be fit. Then, innit? We've carried him. I know there was all that talk at a point of he ain't had Ben White, he ain't had Timber, he ain't had Saka. Odegaard's too good for that. Yeah, I think he suffered, man. I think he suffered. I think the only reason he stayed in the team is A, there's no one else. B, he's the captain. And C, obviously, off the ball, you can do everything that Arteta wants. If that wasn't a player like Martin Odegaard, who's obviously technically proficient and amazing on his day, we'd be saying he just runs around. He's got all gear, no idea. I love Odegaard, but he can't have another season like that, or the writing's on the wall. You might have to get demoted in terms of your squad role.
Yeah, no, I
And
think
even if
that's fair.
Havertz was fit, you might have come out for him and put
Yeah.
Havertz in that 10, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you got to give a player if they have a bad season, you have to give them the next season to try to rebound from that, especially if they're really good for you. Now, Martinelli didn't necessarily have the bounce back season. And, now, I mean, a lot of people that really rate him have said that they feel like he should be a squad player and all that kind of stuff. Is Martinelli's regression just that he isn't good enough, or is the system just crowded him out? Because this season is nothing really changed for me with him.
I
And
think in general, oh, go on.
no, go ahead. I just said he was frustrating this season.
I think in general, there's a bit of, because we've been speaking about it across both platforms. I think there's a bit of, I think Arteta needs to reinvent himself in the final third. So I do think there, even on Odegaard, that and even on how good Saka could be, there's a bit of tax in that final third because Arteta micro manages. There's not really help for randomness. I'm past the stage with Martinelli of you ain't had the left back, the centre mid, and all of that kind of jazz. You're just not kicked on. And it's sad because I think the attitude's spot on. I think he cares. But we all know Martinelli's cash money is end-to-end games like Liverpool, like Real Madrid, like Chelsea, where he's bagged in all of those. You are a squad player. You haven't adapted. Obviously, if we wake up tomorrow and Martinelli's looking like what he looked like in the season, he was great. And beyond that, and looking like that Suarez and Alexis Sanchez, great. But sometimes you might just have to accept players for what they are. Martinelli might improve. He might not improve that much. He might stay the same, which I don't think is terrible. I think your days would be numbered. Man there, squad players. Upgrade on that left-hand side. The bagsman we need, which I hope is Sesko through the middle. And then Sesko, man, because as I said earlier, if we want to be a team that gets to semi-finals, has great days like against City and Real Madrid, finishes second but don't get over the line, we've got enough. But you see, if you want to get over the line, you need an upgrade. You can still have Trossard and Martinelli chipping in, but they've both shown across the majority of a 38-game calendar they can't even do what 50% of Saka does. Defense wins titles. We have a quote-unquote, I think it's probably been, of the 2 years, our worst defensive season, but we're still up there. We don't necessarily have the goals that win games. So, yeah, man, Martinelli, got a lot of time for you. Me and you always run jokes about it and always back him, but we said it last year. I said it, to be fair to me, like upgrades needed. We keep seeing the same things, expecting things to change. And if the system it doesn't play, to go to that comment, if the system doesn't play to Martinelli's strengths, I would caveat that with, it clearly does in Arteta's mind because you're playing him. 2, maybe Arteta don't rate Martinelli that much. Was always earmarked an improvement there because did he not try and buy it? Thank the Lord, it didn't work. But Mudryk,
yeah.
So if it's like at the end of the day, Arteta's not going nowhere. This is his system. Like, find players that thrive within the system, or you have to hold that with Martinelli. Really, like we're talking about the same stuff year in year out now. We're carrying people.
Yeah, Martinelli to me, he just has struggled to go to the next level. And although I do feel like the system doesn't suit him as much as it did before, I just feel like he has so many limitations. And it's like, if you can't get him playing to his best qualities consistently, he's really, really frustrating. So
he plays like
kind of like it. Yeah, it is what it is with him. But in terms of him versus Trossard on who should stay, there's been conversations on who should stay and who should go. Where do you sit on top of letting Trossard go for 20-something million and keeping Martinelli as a backup, or maybe getting a bigger fee for Martinelli and letting Trossard be the backup? What is your feeling on that?
I hear from a financial point of view, obviously Martinelli's younger. If he goes somewhere and gets back into form, how do you look at that? I hear it. He's £6 million. You can make a lot. I don't know how it would work. Trossard, obviously there's age and he still technically hasn't signed the deal. For me, you need to keep both. Put Trossard, I don't want to be disrespectful to Trossard, but put Trossard back in the role he thrives, where you're a rotational player, squad kind of player, impact sub. Of course, you're going to get starts. We need depth. So you two can stay. But that upgrade, even someone, and just imagine where we'd be if someone could do, even in terms of numbers, 50% of what Saka does on that left-hand side. You've got obviously it's not Liverpool, but you've got the Mane Salah kind of thing there already.
I totally agree with that. Make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I also, just getting away from the players for a second, I think, from this season and the games, it's hard to pick out some positive, like the best games and all that kind of stuff. But if there was a highlight of the season, like the highest moment and the lowest moment, what would you choose for those two?
Highest moment, probably 3 games, the 2 against Madrid and City. Lowest, are you asking for games or you just games? Yeah,
like games, like moments.
Lowest, Aston Villa, unpopular opinion. Aston Villa at home.
At home when we drew.
Yeah, man, you're 2 goals up. You're
Yeah,
messing
that was hard.
about. I'm trying to think. What else is there? Liverpool, I would say, unpopular opinion. Not necessarily the game, but it's like we want to be in that scenario where you're playing against big teams like Liverpool, going to Anfield. And I just had this sense, not even the Guard of Honor, I just had this sense of this game should be like a 6 point, a winner takes all. This is a big talking point as to who wins the league. Yeah, of course, West Ham as well. Naturally, West Ham as well. I would say, do you know what? Also, as well, I'd say Bournemouth. I'm sure Bournemouth came back from behind to beat us. Brentford as well. Them kind of silly games. Oh, do you know what? Nottingham Forest away as well for an unusual one, just because I'm sure that
Yeah,
was
that's
around the January period. We're just existing. Like we were just down in the dumps. Like, and you never want to feel that way as a football fan.
yeah. At the beginning of the season, like I did not like our performance.
United as well.
Yeah, I was concerned early on about but everybody, oh, we're just working our way into the season. I was like, I don't think we should look
We're
like
saving
this.
ourselves for the second half of the year.
Yeah,
Foolish.
we were struggling, but looking at some of those performances and how they just got increasingly worse. Like when we drew to Fulham, I was like,
Another one.
you know what? This is not looking up, because that was a game where I know we were missing. I know Kivior was there, so he started. So that was the period of time where we beat Man United, and then the next game we played Fulham, and Kivior was
VAR did us dirty,
and it was just horrendous. We were passing sideways and backwards. Both Saka and Odegaard were out there. It wasn't like there wasn't anybody to play, and it was just dark, so it just felt like there was just so many nothing games this season. I was telling them the other day that I'm somebody that when we win and play well, I rewatch the games like 2 or 3 times. I love
watching. Do that when we lose.
Huh?
You're meant to do that when we lose.
No, I like doing when we win.
That's emotional, though. Are you gonna find where we need to improve?
Well, I'm not a coach. I don't need to know that.
No, but you have a duty to your subscribers.
Whatever.
So, she knows Arsenal after all. What a mixed timeline this is football and whatever that was.
But yeah, I don't remember any real games that I rewatched outside of Sporting, Man City, and like the Real Madrid games. Every other game, I couldn't wait for it to be done, and I didn't like that. So yeah, it's hard to find some highs, but I will say that those like 48 hours after we beat Real Madrid was some high highs. Like it was some high highs. Like, I mean,
it was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was great. It was great. It was great.
It was. I mean, everybody was cheesing. Everybody was excited. It was great. I want more of those moments, so hopefully
the dopamine when Rice scored. I don't know between the first or the second one. For me, it was the second. The first I was shocked, but the second was like, right, you did it again. Like someone pinched me. This is a movie.
I know. It was just one of it felt like
that's our trophy.
Yeah. You know what? And I think, because after that moment, I remember rivals were shitting themselves. And I was like, I remember I came on your show and you said, surely you have to believe now. Surely you have to believe now. And I had that feeling in my stomach that I didn't fully believe. Because moments
I don't
like
think we'll win the Champions League anymore. Just like, I think I'm going to die without seeing it. I think that was it now. I'll be real. I want to be wrong.
I want us one time to have the magic moment and it actually means something, because we always talk about the Reece Nelson goal. And that was the one that was like, we're winning the league. And it ended up being nothing. So
Rice, Fulham, bear the late minutes.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, it meant nothing. But I will say that those 48 hours after we beat Real Madrid were great. Like they were fun. They were good. So now, Mikel,
oh God,
what's one thing he got right this season and one thing he got wrong? Surely he did some right shit, didn't he?
He brought in Raheem Sterling. There's got to be a coincidence that Sterling's come in. Obviously, the young players have emerged. We got to a semi-finals now. On a serious note, what he done well, persisted with Rice as an 8 for me. I'm fully with that. What was the other bit?
Like what's one thing that Mikel got right and one thing that he got wrong?
having conviction in you in the 8, I'll be real. I fuck with that. Pardon my French. Rice in the 8. I weren't always convinced. I wasn't even necessarily against it, but I wasn't. Now I'm fully behind Rice in the 8. One thing he got wrong, I don't think you've evolved, man. I don't think it's a double-edged sword because I am not as heavy on rotation as some fans in it. There's got to be a correlation with Arteta being a lot more defensively minded, playing the same players, and us being where we're at. But there's also life's a contradiction, and football's no different. You've also got to be flexible. I still think you're doing the late subs things. I still think you're doing the late subs. I don't think you trusted players as quickly as possible. I would have loved to have seen Wanyeri blooded a bit more. Yeah, man. Ultimately, I don't think you kept your bottle in sink or swim moments, really. The whole team, but it extends to you. So yeah, man. And I just look at this year. I'm sure maybe they'll disagree or agree, but I look at this year and I look at 2020, as I said, 2022, 23, great going forward. Last season, great defensively. This year, beyond Miles Lewis Skelly and all the things we've spoken about, there isn't something I see in my team that I haven't seen already. So yeah, if anything, adversity in it because you still finished second, but that ain't a trophy.
Yeah, I think this is a really good one. The Arteta trusting Miles Lewis Skelly. I think I don't know in the past if he would have done that. So, in the past he was, pulling Xhaka and putting him in left back, and I mean, we didn't have an MLS just cooking there, but yeah, I think, trusting MLS, giving Ethan minutes, putting Marino up front instead of Trossard, I think that did well, and that was a good Band-Aid, the best Band-Aid we could have had with no strikers. Trusting Declan in the 8, it's not my favorite, but he's definitely our best 8,
Very nice, Jess.
so yeah, I mean, that was really good. He got his tactics spot on against Real Madrid. I think that was probably his best moment of the season was because it wasn't just that we played well, the tactics were good.
And it's Real Madrid.
And it's Real Madrid. I think one thing that I think for sure he got wrong was whatever doubling down on a style of play that doesn't suit quite a few of your better players and being rigid and running these players into the ground. I think, there's still times where I'm like, you just rotate? Like, does Saka need to come on? Like, it's like little shit like that, And so, yeah, I think next season, even though I'm probably not so on the positive side when it comes to Mikel, one thing I really would love to see is just a style that I know that a lot of us
fresh, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would say like, "Oh yeah, we're we're Arsenal and we play good football, but I would sacrifice that for wins." But I do think that there's an element of Arsenal and Arsenal tradition where we do need to be playing a better brand of football, especially since most of the good teams in the world right now, the Barcelonas, the PSGs, they do play good football. And so I would love to see him kind of walk back and untangle this knot that he's put us in, where he's trying to keep us from conceding so much that he takes away from the goal scoring and the freedom and the creativity, because it doesn't suit anyone. I feel like Saka's the only one who looks decent, and that's because he's world class. Everybody else is like suffering, So do you care about a better brand of football, or do you care like nothing? Like you're like, fuck it, I don't care.
I mean, naturally, you want to have it both. You want trophies, you want good football. Obviously, God forbid, but if you're not in conversation, but we're not. But if you're not in conversations and you're playing good football, it's not acceptable. But you can fly with that. When you're doing the ugly football and not winning, there's an issue. Clearly needs to evolve, man. You got some very good players there. Like as much as we all want a striker and a left winger, we can't act like these players are dosh. Like, how much better would Saka be? I don't want to go over it, but it brings me back to the last time I was on your platform where you heard Mohamed Salah talk about how Slot said, you know what, you can stay up there a bit more. So I think Arteta needs to find the freedom within his framework. And if he wants find that balance, maybe there's other ways we could have that defensive solidity and still allow attackers to thrive. So yeah, he needs to get back to it, man. This football's it's stagnated, didn't it? It's felt lifeless. Like we've just been existing, like, if I'm honest with you. Man, you don't get copyright, you know.
Let me put this. I know. Like, let me put this down. I was like, seeing what people were saying. Yeah, but I think it's not about because people, you just want to go back to, finishing 4th or 6th or 7th and playing good football and not winning anything. And I'm like, well, we're not winning anything now, so calm down. But I do think that, the fans need to look at something. They need to look at something and feel like they're, like we're going to score goals and,
Want to be inspired, entertained, and feel like, you're
yeah,
reflecting on what you see.
yeah. And I'm not saying sacrifice winning for that, but it's not like we're winning now. So, so yeah, I would really love to see a better brand of football. Johnny says, criticize the defense. Criticize the defense is the last thing we need right now. We need better wingers or better form from wingers as well as Odegaard. Arsenal Perspective says, I'd like to see siege mentality and keeping on our own counsel when it comes to the media and not giving them any ammo to use against us. You mean kind of like saying that you have goosebumps and shit? Yeah. Cole Palmer settings, say little, impressors do much on the pitch. Boy says, or Dio says, the attack needs to be better. The defense isn't going to just keep clean sheets when the league has so much money. Josh says, I think Arsenal need to play good football after Wenger left. I felt winning at all costs was important, but after this horror show from Mikel, we need fluid football back. Mata says, yeah, the season was boring AF. It really was. And I just feel like the players didn't feel inspired. They looked like they were going to a funeral every time that they stepped on the pitch, and that was just like wild. MM says, yeah, the TL ain't taking the Sesko news well, I'm sure. And MLS was the only positive. He played Wanyeri and he worked for 2 months. Then he didn't, but he did play for a few games even when he didn't. So yeah, there's a lot of negatives, obviously, but listen, we're Sesko FC now, so
You gotta wait till he's holding the shirt, man.
I know. We have to wait till he's
because that's what 2 signings. If we exclude what I just said, that's Zubimendi and Sesko through the door. Not really better signings per se, but let's see, man. Who knows? There might be surprises.
It's essentially the summer window we were meant to have last summer, is it not?
Better late than never, they say, innit?
Yeah. Samuel, thank you so much for your super chat. Samuel says, I was not surprised about MLS because I saw him play versus Liverpool in the US tour. Fair enough.
And he's only going to get better, man.
Absolutely. He is a crazy, crazy player. Listen, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go watch a Sesko comp or two and eat my pizza because it's cold now. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Did a show on DG's channel as well. If you guys want to go back, that was more of a traditional season review. The Sesko news kind of ruined the flow, but it's all good because it's more professional over there. Yeah. But then we also did the keep sell. If you weren't there earlier, you can rewatch that. And then I had a show yesterday breaking down everything about Zubimendi, Thierry, all and Havertz starting. So if you want to go back and watch that, you can. But yeah, we'll be back with, another show soon. Hopefully, DG wants to be my friend still and do shows because all of a sudden he just dropped off the edge of the earth. He was doing shows with everybody.
Tell her to show you her WhatsApp. Tell her to show you her WhatsApp. Put your receipts on the table. Put your medals on the table. Tell her to show you the WhatsApp messages, and tell her to find the last time she asked me to do a show. I didn't find it. I think I went beyond February 2024. Every other time it was mine. We don't make excuses. We get things done. That's Mikel Arteta. This is Luis Enrique. Sorry, Arteta, man. I didn't mean that, man.
It's a mess. But listen, we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on your way out, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Bye.
Come on.